Namaskar and welcome to the session on food drying and dehydration, an important preservation and processing method. The objective of this session is to know what, how, and why of food drying and dehydration, and we will cover its need and importance, principle, methods, effect of drying on foods, and trends in drying. Let us start with what it is. As we all know, food is a nutritive product, but it has also potential of spoilage due to moisture and enzymes. So this process of removal of water from food products is known as drying or dehydration. It is one of the oldest method of preservation because water is not available for microorganisms and enzymes. The food product can be stored for a long time. Simultaneously, there is a significant reduction in product volume, and that results in efficiency in transportation, distribution, and storage of food. Now, this process existed since long time in a form of sun drying of fruits, meat, and fish because of its simplicity and cost effectiveness. Now, what are the advantages? As I mentioned, it extends the shelf life without refrigeration. For dry products, you don't need the refrigeration. Second is it converts the perishable item to stable forms. Like milk can be converted to milk powder. Similarly, juice to the juice powders. Egg can be egg powders. So there is a stability in the product, particularly like in milk. Then significant reduction in weight, bulk, volume, and space. This leads to cost reduction in packaging, transportation, and storage. The very important function it performs is reduction in post-harvest losses, as well as improves the commercial value, as well as add variety to the food products. More choices are available to our food. This has emerged as acceptable convenience food due to rapid reconstitution and good organoleptic qualities because of improvement in the processes. Example are like dried milk powders, instant coffee, soup mixes, instant noodles. So these are some of the example of dried products. Now let's take this example, fresh grape and sun-dried raisins. I think we all know, so that what we call kishmish. So if you see the grapes and kishmish, the shelf life is more of kishmish. It is easy to handle raisins or kishmish as compared to the fresh grapes. The life is more. Then you can have multi uses. Raisins can be used in many ways. So these are the advantages of converting fresh product into simple example of sun-dried raisins is there. Let us see what is the difference between drying and dehydration. Basically, it is removal of water or removal of moisture. Drying is used when it is used under the natural conditions, that is with the non-conventional sources of energy like sun and air or wind is there. So open air drying using sun and wind, which has been practiced since ancient time to preserve the food, is called as a drying process. Dehydration is when we remove the water by mechanical ways or under controlled conditions through which we can control the temperature, relative humidity, and airflow. So this dehydration is a type of a mechanical processes, and it has led to the fast drying, higher yield, the microclimate, that is temperature, relative humidity, airflow. These things can be controlled. It needs less floor area, easy to maintain the sanitary condition, but it is costly. The yield is also higher. The results are also consistent. When we use the sun drying, the results may not be consistent. Yield could also be less. we will not be able to maintain the sanitary condition. But then the simplicity and cost is the main advantage. Dehydration is the more mechanical method. Microclimate can be controlled. Fast drying is there. So these are the advantages are there. But in this session, we have used the drying and dehydration as synonymous with the meaning that the processes involve removal of moisture. Right. Let us see the principles of drying. What are the basic principles? The basic principle is it's a removal of water from food by evaporation. As you know, this is a thermal process is there, and it involves two simultaneously things. One is heat transfer and second is moisture transfer is there. And we use heat to remove the moisture is there. Now, heat transfer can have the mechanism either conduction, that is through direct contact, or convection, air or fluid movement, and radiation through electromagnetic waves. The mass transfer takes place that the water in the food inside it comes to the surface and then evaporates, and water moves from the inside to the surface through diffusion process. And the drying, we say it has a two periods, the constant rate period and the falling rate period will be there. Let us see in detail. Now, this is the early stage of drying. Now, you can see in the center food product is present and warm dry air when it moves. Then there is a moisture is there which has been shown, moisture on saturated surface. It has been labeled as a moisture pool is there. So what happens when the warm air flows over this, the moist air goes. So the warm dry air has changed into the moist air and the moisture removal is fast. Now, if you take the second picture, now in this, the warm dry air, now then the air is warm and it contains less moisture, you can see. And you can see no moisture pool on the surface because the water which is inside, now it diffuses slowly to the top layer, so that the pool is missing. So this is known as the later stage, that the falling rate is there. So this shows the difference that the initially operation is fast because the moisture is continuously going to the surface. But with the time, the moisture cannot move to the surface, so it is taking a long time is there. So there are three stages we call. The first is called as the warm-up period, then constant rate of drying, and then falling rate of drying period is there. If you see, it has been shown as on the one side, the dry basis moisture, and then the drying time is there. So you can see that first we will have the warm-up period, then we have a constant rate of period, and then the falling rate, which we have seen in the first was this is the early stage. The warm dry air is moving as a moist air. There is a pool of moisture because it keeps on evaporating very fast is there, and moisture diffusing to the surface is also quick is there. But if you see the next part, in the later stage, warm dry air is warm air only and it contains little moisture because there is no moisture pool into this, and it is the slow diffusion is slow of the moisture is there. That's why it has been shown into three parts: warm up period, constant period, and then falling rate period are there. So let us take the first review. You kindly note down the the following questions and solve it within 15 minutes after the session. So first is define process, that is what is drying and dehydration. Second is give the benefits, enumerate its benefits. Then explain the principle of drying or dehydration process. State the different stages of drying. Next exercise is you identify 10 dried products under different food products and check their labels. Note down the moisture percentage and what is the date of marking, that is expiry date, has been given on the product and try to differentiate between the moisture percentage and the shelf life of the product. Next, we come to the drying principles in reference to the product quality. So what we need is, first thing is what we need is that the moisture should have a minimum moisture should be there in the product. That is, all the moisture which is there, which is in free moisture, you should be able to remove it. Then we should be able to control the environment. That is, precise control of temperature and pressure so that we can adjust the properties of the food product. Preservation of nutrients, it is important that we should preserve the nutritional and structural integrity of food. There should be minimum losses of nutrition losses should be minimum. And if we try to use lower pressure, it will give us efficient dehydration. Similarly, sufficient time of moisture should be there, drying should be there to ensure the moisture removal. So these are the principles we have to operate on the product quality. Earlier we had seen that what are the principles for heat transfer and mass transfer. These are the principles we have to keep in mind for the product quality. Keep the moisture percentage minimum. We are able to control the environment of temperature, then flow rate, then the air humidity is there. Nutrients should be able to preserve, and the lower pressure gives us the efficient dehydration there. Now, what are the factors which affect the drying? First is the temperature. Temperature is the main driving force. So, higher temperature difference between the heating medium and food, it will increase the drying rate. You remember the equation Q is equal to ms delta T. So, the delta T is the temperature difference. So, higher the temperature difference, the increase the drying rate will takes place. The next point is surface area. Large surface area results into increased rate of drying. That's why we divide the food into small and thin particles, and when this surface come into contact with the food, the advantage is that the heat is able to penetrate and the moisture has to reduce, the less distance it has to travel. So it is more efficiency is there because of the surface area. That is, when the food is divided into small and thin particles, the more surface area is in contact and the food and the heating media, and the distance from the surface to the center is also less is there. The next point is humidity. Lower humidity accelerates the drying. So always try to keep the dry air because it can absorb and hold moisture. Airflow, faster airflow removes moisture more quickly, and the other advantage is it takes and sweeps it away from the drying food surface also. So the moisture will not be around the food surface, it will take it away. So this is the advantage of faster airflow is there. Now, what are the types of drying processes? We group into three main groups. First group is air and contact drying under atmospheric pressure. So heat is transferred either from the heated air or from the heated surface, and this water vapor is removed from the air. This is the first principle. We will see what type of dryers are there. Then the vacuum drying, when the operation of water takes place at the lower pressure. This is normally by the conduction and under the vacuum. So this is the second group of the dryers. And third group is freeze drying, where water vapors are sublimated off. That is sublimation, as you know, when water goes from solid to gas without passing through the liquid phase. That is freeze drying is there. So these are the three main groups are there. So we will take one by one. The hot air dryers are the first, where the air is used to heat the product. So examples are sun and solar drying. They are simple and inexpensive, and what we say that what we use at the home level. So sun and solar drying is there. Then the kiln dryers. It is a two-story construction, but now on the first ground floor we will have the furnace, and then we will have the food product on the first floor. Limited use is there. The cabinet dryers is a what we call the tray dryers. It is a insulated cabinet is there with the heating arrangement, airflow, and on the stainless steel we can keep the product is there. Now the modifications, the different versions like conveyor or belt type, that there is a mesh belt is there and fruit and vegetables are placed on this mesh belt, and then the hot air heating arrangement is there. Similarly, the tunnel dryer, when the trays move into the insulated hot tunnel is there. Then belt through dryers are there. The heated air is blown through the bed of the food, and it is kept on the belt is there. Similarly, bin dryers are there. They are used for the fine drying is there. The fluidized bed dryers, air act as a drying and the fluidizing medium is there. And the spray dryers, there is a fine dispersion of pre-concentrated liquid food in hot air is there. And this is normally used. Spray dryers is more commonly used in many of the food processing industries. These are the example of air convection is there, that you have a enclosed insulated chamber in which the air is circulated and the air is heated also, and food is kept in the enclosure, that is trays are there, and air movement is controlled by fan, blowers and baffles is there, and dried product is collected by specially designed devices. So all air convection. So here the mechanism of heating is convection is there, where the air passes through the food product is there. So like our the heater, air heater what we use, so that it takes the air and it flows. So that type of example is there, air convection is there. Now heated surface dryer, here the heat is applied to the food material by conduction process. So what is the advantage? We don't need the large volume of air is not required, and drying can be carried out in the absence of oxygen also. Examples are like drum and roller dryers are there. So like when you make chapati at home on the tawa, so that is the example of transfer of heat through conduction. So right now this drum dryers may be single or twin hollow drums. They are internally heated by steam around 120 to 170 degrees centigrade. Then a thin layer of food is spread over the outer surface, and the dried product is removed by the doctor blade is there. So drum dryers are quite popular. So these are used in the food industry, like for the liquid paste, puree. Similarly, spray dryers are in the convection dryers, or tray dryers are used in the air dryers. Then when the cabinet dryers, we operate under vacuum, so that we call it as a vacuum dryer. It comes in a two types, vacuum shelf dryer and continuous vacuum belt dryer. Now these are costly, and the operation is done at low temperature, because when operation is done at low temperature, it retains the nutritive value, flavor is also retained, and the examples are like fruit juices, instant tea, and delicate food products are used for the drying of under vacuum. Now freeze drying is, it's used for the very further sensitive and high value products are there. So as we know, freeze drying is a process in which the solvent are first is crystallized at low temperature, that is ice crystals are formed, and those ice crystals are removed by sublimation. As he explained, sublimation means they are without changing into water in the phase, they from the ice they directly go to the vapors. So they protect the delicate flavor, color, texture, appearance and nutrient of food is there. So the principle is water evaporates directly from the ice under low pressure, and then from the solid to gas without passing to a liquid phase there. So it retains most of the nutrients. Taste is better. Example is coffee, but they are expensive. So when you can see also the freeze dried coffee is also available, and the normal instant coffee is available. Dried coffee is also available. So you can feel the price difference, and you can feel the flavor difference also in these three type of products is there. Now, what are the process control factors because there are, first thing is energy requirement for vaporization. But total energy requirement is sensible heat plus latent heat is there. So latent heat of, we take either vaporization or sublimation depending upon the product. Then heat transfer in drying, conduction, radiation and convection. We also have to look after that the energy efficiency parameters are prevailed, and then mass transfer in drying. So these are the some of the considerations in controlling the process factors. Now, what is drying and water activities? Drying namely preserves the food product by removal of water, and it increases the osmotic pressure by concentrating salt, sugar, acids. In the process, the water activity is lowered down. You can take the fresh fruit, vegetables, all the water activity is in the range of 0.97 to 0.99. While the dehydrated product have a maximum water activity below 0.7. So which is below the minimum value for the food pathogens. So food pathogens will not be able to grow. And how do they control? They interrupt the vital process for growth of microorganisms. But then there is a caution is there. They cannot destroy the food toxins if the food toxins are already produced there by Clostridium botulinum or Staphylococcus aureus. So during drying, we cannot remove the food toxins is there, right? It can kill the bacteria, but it cannot destroy the toxins. Let us see what is the effect of drying on food. As we know, drying means removal of water from a product. What happens if you only take it as a removing of water without taking into the other considerations, into the product profile or the energy efficient, then you will not get a good quality product. All the advances are taking because of the taking a holistic view of things. Then let us take the nutritional aspects. With vitamins which are present in food, they are very sensitive to heat. High temperature will destroy the heat sensitive vitamins, particularly vitamin C and B. So lower the drying temperature, it is better is there. Shrinkage also. Food material becomes smaller in size, and it also affects their bulk density. And normally it has been observed that the slow drying tries to give the shrink or shriveled appearances there, whereas the rapid drying will maintain the textural integrity or characteristics are there. Browning can also take place. The color of food material may change from light to dark brown color is there. Flavor degradation, overheating can result in loss of flavor or development of off flavors can be there. Then overheating can cause the food to become too hard or brittle also. Case hardening is one of the biggest problem. That is if the operator or when you're not controlling the conditions, what happens is that the product from outside is a hard. It looks like a dry, but inside it will have a moisture. That's a inadequate drying has taken place. And this result is uneven texture, potential discoloration, as well as the early spoilage of the product will take place. Then this happens when you are drying, the initial temperature is very high. So it will form a type of a impervious layer on the dried product. So this case hardening, we should avoid it. Then reduction in functionality also. Some like vitamins, some of the functional things which are present in some of the nutrients or components could be lost, like gelatinization of starch could take place, denaturation of protein could take place, crystallization of cellulose may take place. So we have to take care during the drying process. So it depends upon the type of the product, what is the end use, and how we are going to use it. So we have to take care in the process. So drying should not be only taken as a removal of moisture. Other parameters are also very important. And as a technologist and as a food safety professional, we have to take care of all these things. Like I mentioned, the toxins will not be destroyed, only the food pathogens will be destroyed. So we have to take care. Now, how to maintain the stability of dried products? The first thing is we have to protect it from the surrounding environment, particularly water, air, sunlight, and contaminants. These should be taken care. So packaging is important. Proper laminates, gas packaging could be used. Now review 2. So now note down these questions. Enumerate factors affecting drying process. State different type of drying processes. Enumerate different type of hot air dryers. Explain sublimation. What is case hardening? As the next is, you review the literature from the to read more about advances in dryers design and energy efficiency in drying operations. Kindly read some of the current published reviews or articles, particularly on the dryers design and the energy efficiency in drying operations and how we can control them is there. Now, there are certain things important, like first is instantization. You must have seen that instant coffee is there. So, what is instantization? This is the term associated with the drying only. It is a process which makes the powder dissolve very quickly in water. So, what it is quickly, that's why the word instant is there. So, what is the process? It involves wetting and drying of the powder to create porous particle, and it is often combined with agglomeration to improve solubility. Examples are like instant coffee, powdered milk, baby formula, these are there. So, what are the advantages? Rapid distillation in liquid, improved texture and mouthfeel, and convenience for consumers. Now, we use the word agglomeration. Let us see what is agglomeration. Agglomeration is process of forming large porous particles from fine powders. And in this, the fine powder is wetted and agglomerated into large particles, and they are dried to maintain the porous structure. That is agglomeration is there. Application in breakfast cereals, powder drink mixes, instant soup. So, what are the advantages? We have improved flowability and mixing properties, enhanced solubility and reconstitution, and better handling and packaging. There is another term which is associated with drying is two-stage drying. So, what is two-stage drying is? It involves the two drying methods to optimize efficiency and product quality. In the first stage, the initial drying is rapid using high temperature like spray dry, and in second stage, final drying is done at lower temperature to prevent case hardening and nutrient loss. That is, fluidized dryer is used. So, this is two-stage drying. So, when we have a spray dryer along with the fluidized bed dryer, it is known as two-stage drying is there. Applications are like milk powder, coffee, and other sensitive products. What are the advantages? Energy efficiency, improved product and quality and shelf life, and minimum nutrient losses can be there. Now, what are some other trends in drying? Microwave drying. You have seen the microwave at your home. This is a type of uses the form of electromagnetic energy. Microwave penetrates the food material and induce friction in water molecules and produce heat. Takes less time and temperature to remove the moisture from food products. Similarly, is osmotic drying. It is a removing the percentage of water from a piece of fruit or vegetable by placing in a contact with the granular sugar, salt, or considered sugar or salt solution. And after osmotic dehydration, the product may be either frozen or dried in air or vacuum dryer can be done. So, it is comparatively costly than the conventional drying, but the quality is better. Similarly, infrared radiations are being used. As we know, the infrared radiations are electromagnetic waves. So, they have the advantage of high energy efficiency, short drying time, uniform heating of material, easy control of material temperature, good quality of final product, and low energy cost. And they are coming in different versions also, like infrared drying, ultrasound assisted drying, hybrid drying, that is hot air infrared, infrared and vacuum, microwave infrared, microwave vacuum drying, they are becoming popular. And then there is another trend is micro encapsulation also, particularly for the flavors and for the special functional foods, they are becoming very important. Now, what are the issues related to food safety? We have to take care of the three aspects as we know: microbial safety, chemical safety, and physical safety. So, microbial safety is that the dried food should be free from pathogens. The chemical safety involves the We should avoid the contamination with harmful substances, and physical safety, that preventing the physical hazards in dried food. So that is physical safety we can do with the screening of foreign objects before packaging by metal detector or anything which we can use depending upon the product. Similarly, microbiological safety, if we keep to the food safety, hygiene and safety standards and regulations, and chemical safety is by implementing strict quality control measures is there. Now, to summarize this session, so first we covered the importance, that is, it extends the shelf life, reduction in weightage and volume take care. And we also defined it also that it is a process of removing moisture from the substance. And how do it preserves? It removes the moisture and increases the osmotic pressure. Because of this, the preservation takes place. So principle is, it is a removal of water from food by evaporation, and heat transfer can take place either conduction, convection and radiation, and then mass transfer also takes place, the moisture on the surface and then the moisture from the center to the surface by diffusion. What are the factors? It is the temperature, humidity, airflow and surface area. Now, effect on food also we covered, that is nutritional, particularly vitamins could be denatured, destroyed. Similarly, structural integrity also we have to take care, case hardening, browning, these are the things. And how do we stabilize the products with the proper packaging and storage is there. Now, what is the takeaway? That drying and dehydrations are transforming our food choices. So, dry products are more stable, convenient, nutritious, and safe to consume. So, thank you very much for your kind presence. Thank you.